Our New Mexico style graphics actually look a little bit like a quilt, don't they? What we just saw? Okay, so you may be questioning, whatever happened to quilting? Does anybody still do it? Well, yes, the answer is yes, they do. And today with me are a couple of women with that answer. Mary Jo McCarthy is with Southwest Decoratives and Kokopelli Quilting Company. And we've also got Michelle Jackson, a fiber artist and art quilt teacher. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you very much for having us. Thank you.
Love that shirt.
Oh, thank you.
You know, it's Thursday, it's fashion day. I can't help but notice. Now, I want to talk about this because quilting is not a lost art, and a lot of people question that. It is alive and kicking, though. So talk about that a little for me.
Yeah, we're here to show you basically what quilting was and what it's developed into.
Okay.
It has changed dramatically.
That's a good thing, though, because I think people have an antiquated, I would say, perception of quilting.
Quilting used to be a survival skill. You literally took old clothing, old shirts, feed sacks from flowers, and made blankets.
But that's
it was
changed.
a survival skill, very much so.
So now we go into something new. So let's see what was old.
This is the old.
Yes, yes.
This is a sample of a very old quilt top called a double wedding ring. This is what people think of when they think of quilting. Okay,
Right,
this is where we started.
Yes,
a couple of hundred years ago.
And we've moved to wonderful prints. These are Southwest prints, a beautiful bear paw pattern.
We still use very traditional designs, such as the bear paw. There's another design called a log cabin, which, depending on how you put your blocks together, you'll have a totally different design quilt. But
so as someone's it's beautiful. As someone's learning, so you would have different patterns, and you could say this is the log. So each one is a different type of style.
Correct.
Okay. And I love, by the way, the turquoise. I was going to say I love the turquoise, and that does. It screams New Mexico to me, which I love. I love that. Oh, this is interesting.
This is an example of a contemporary quilt. This is based on antique Spanish crosses. Isn't this beautiful?
It is.
Our Southwest culture lends itself to quilting in a very, very beautiful way.
Yes.
The Native Americans, with their Navajo rugs, we've turned into beautiful quilt patterns, and of course the Spanish influence. We also brought some blocks to show some very specific ideas from New Mexico. This is the San Ysidro Church in Corrales.
So there's actually history, and that's the thing I always love about quilting is let's show that. Can you see that again? Can you guys get a good shot of that? That's pretty. What happens is, you know, it's not just about the pretty aesthetic value of it, but there is something behind it. There's a story behind it. There's a history behind it.
And there's a passion for the woman who's doing the work on it as well. There's a need to be very creative. There's a need to express herself and her emotions at the time.
And it's probably a very therapeutic activity, isn't it?
Very much so. Quilting is a very healing experience. We have found in our quilt shop especially, many women who've been through a major trauma in their life find quilting to be a very healing, very cathartic experience where they can actually work through very difficult emotions and come out on the other side with a beautiful expression of love.
I like that kind of medicine. Well, I want to talk, as you're continuing to show us these, I want to talk about the biannual show that's at the Fairgrounds because I want people to know all about that. And that, you know, quilting's not just about the blankets either. Which is what a lot of us perceive, but there's actually more. There's clothes too.
And the Fiber Arts Fiesta is put on every other year at the Fairgrounds. It was started in the mid-1990s by the New Mexico Quilters Association. It includes 12 different guilds, everything from
lace making, and doll making,
silk painting, beading,
weaving.
It's fascinating.
Beautiful things.
It's fascinating.
So there's a lot of variety.
Memorial Day weekend at the Fairgrounds.
Fabulous. And that's actually also something I want to say is that National Quilting Day is March 19th. So that's really soon. So what actually happens on National Quilting Day?
Lots of activities in quilt shops. So, and I know a lot of people have probably walked by quilt shops before and thought of their grandmother's quilt and never gone in. At least on National Quilting Day, you should peek in the window.
Yes, and what a cool thing to have as your prize. To be able to say, you know what, I know how to quilt, and then to have that and to pass that on through generations in your family, and you know, and to be able to keep the spirit of quilting alive and still current, which is a nice thing to be able to do. What's this one?
Well, some of the new things that you'll see are, when you look in the window, are things that you are out of the ordinary. Basically, this isn't necessarily considered, this is a new type of quilt, basically. A small quilt. This is basically from a photograph. We have a couple others here.
This I like.
These are definitely art quilts. So
This I like. This is kind of like a cobblestone. Now I want to mention that Southwest Decoratives and Kokopelli Quilting Company is located at 5711 Carmel Northeast Suite B. Now the phone number is up on your screen right now, and there are also a couple of websites. So we have quilts.com.
Correct.
That's very easy to remember. And the other one is fashions.com?
Quiltfashions.com.
So quilts.com, quiltfashions.com. How easy to remember that is. And Mary Jo and Michelle, I thank you so much for coming in. Let's look at this right before we go. Gorgeous.
More art quilts.
I love it. I love the colors. Thank you so much for sharing all of your very special work.
Thank you for having us.
We appreciate it. And just ahead, we are heading to college, Brown Mackie College, to get an education about what kind of education you can get right here. We'll be right back.